as a financial advisor, some of the most powerful lessons that I've learned are the ones that my clients have shared with me. And in today's video, I want to share with you one of the most impactful lessons that I've learned. And that is when my older clients, folks that have been retired for 15, 20 plus years, share with me their reflections and maybe some regrets that they had in their retirement journey. I want to see you get all the joy that you can out of your retirement. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the top 5 regrets that older retirees have shared with me that they wish that they had known. And the first one is going to surprise you coming from a financial advisor. They wish that they had spent more money early in their retirement years. There's a study that was done by BlackRock, which is one of the largest asset managers in the world. And what they found surveying their clients is the majority of their retirees still had over 80% of their investable assets 18 years into retirement. That's a staggering number. And I think most of us, if somebody told us we were going to have 80% of our assets almost 20 years into retirement, I think many of us would make the choice to spend more money, to do more things, to have more adventures, to spoil ourselves, and spend the money on ourselves, spend the money on people that we love, spend the money on experiences that we've always wanted. Because oftentimes, once this window of opportunity passes, yes, we have the money, but we may not have the health, we may not have the mobility, we may not have the mental acuity needed to do some of these things. You know, travel comes to mind, doing like a Disney cruise with the grandkids come to mind, things like that. And by the time people realize they have more than enough money to retire and to live out the rest of their life, by that time it's too late. The clock has ticked and that phase of their life is over. And even though they have the money, they can't rewind the clock and get a do-over. But if they knew that they were going to have all this money, they would have spent more sooner in their lives. So it's this fear of running out of money, which is why I think it's so important for you to have a plan, a retirement plan, and know how much you can spend, and then fight that temptation to not spend, right? In the early years of retirement, it's just natural to feel very uncomfortable actually spending from our retirement accounts, but that's when it's most important. That's when we have our full health. So I want to share that with you. Really think about, are you spending enough money? Okay, the second one is that, unfortunately, and this is super common, people wish they had invested more time and frankly a little more money in their health and taking care of their health. It's something that it's just human nature. We all take our health for granted until it's gone, right? And some of this is genetics, but some of it's under our control. You know, are we doing what we can to keep up our muscle mass? Are we doing what we can to keep up our flexibility? Are we doing what we can to, keep up our cardiovascular health, whether that's walking regularly or going for a run, things like that? And then many people would say, really, the battle for health is won or lost in the kitchen. So are we taking the time to shop for healthy foods, to take the time to cook so we're not eating fast food? Are we doing those things? Are we watching our weight? Are we doing what we can to stay as healthy as we can? A number of books. One was written by a gentleman by the name of Peter Attia. Really talks about, how do we take care of ourselves into our 70s, mid 70s, maybe our late 70s. And then at some point, genetics take over. But just investing in your health, because once it's gone, at our age, it's pretty hard to get our health back. So enough said on that one. The next one, and this one's close to my heart, because one of the reasons I started the YouTube channel is I want to encourage people to think about, be thoughtful and deliberate about retiring sooner. And the reason that I'm so passionate about this is I've seen people regret. And they say, boy, if I knew how much I was going to enjoy retirement, I would have retired sooner. Now, I don't want to paint a picture that's all roses and sunshine and unicorns and rainbows. There is a transition that we have to go through, right? Most of us have been working 20, 30, 40 years. And it takes a while to transition out of that and into our new life. But unless we're going to work until the day before we die, at some point we have to do that transition. And what I've seen people do is they're fearful of that transition. I use an analogy of a door. You know, you're walking out that door into your new world. And, you know, until you open the door and you walk into that new world, you don't know what's really there. But I can tell you as a financial advisor for over 20 years that the vast majority of my clients, once they make it through that transition, wish that they had done it sooner, because this is the youth of our senior years. We're never going to be younger than what we are today. For many of us, we're likely not going to be much healthier than we are today. There's a lot of things. The clock is ticking. Time is not necessarily our friend to waste. Time is our friend. But we want to take full advantage. We want to squeeze all the life out of the youth of our senior years that we can. And there are phases that we have to go through. And there's typically 4 phases. You know, the first phase, some people experience this, some people don't. Some people experience it for a year. And if that's you, great. And that's that feeling of vacation and relief. Thank goodness, you know, the working phase of my life, needing to work for money. Thank goodness that's behind me, because we have a lot of pressure on our shoulders to pay the mortgage, to put aside money for retirement. Many of us want to help our kids pay for college. And so at this point in our lives, many of us, those responsibilities are behind us. And there's a sense of relief. That's that first phase. But phases 2 and 3 can be a little hard. The second phase is a feeling of loss. You know, as I said earlier, we've been working for several decades. We have many of our friends that are at work. So there are some things that we're losing. And it's not uncommon to have that feeling of loss and even sometimes depression. So know that that can happen, and maybe have a life coach with you, or have somebody that's a trusted confidant that you can talk to about these things to help get through that feeling of loss. And then the next phase is kind of iterating, trying out different things. What are your new passions in retirement? And then finally, you're in the new phase, the 4th phase, which is you've now transitioned to your new life. You know what your passion is, you know what your routine in life is, and you're excited about that. And so those are the 4 phases. And once you get through those phases, most people look back and say, you know what, I wish I had done this sooner. Okay, the next one, and a lot of people say that they want to travel when they first retire. They have these trips that they wanted to see, these places that they've wanted to go. And I've been fortunate. I've been able to travel pretty much all over the world. I've been on every continent except for Antarctica. I'm not sure I'm ever going to hit that one, but maybe I will. And I can tell you, you know, traveling is a lot of fun. It also takes a lot of energy, or can take a lot of energy. So traveling earlier in your retirement, when you have your full energy, and traveling is easier. It gets harder and harder. Yes, you can still travel, but it's going to look a lot different. It might look like you're on a tour bus with 30 or 40 other people, and you're kind of in your pod. You know, you're on this tour bus and you get off and you see whatever the site is that you want to see. You're surrounded by these same 40 people, and then you go back on your bus and you go wherever you're going next. And that's a very different experience than maybe traveling independently and setting up the trip yourself and doing the things that you want to do. And you wake up in the morning and say, okay, what sounds like fun today? So a lot of my clients say, I wish I had done that type of traveling sooner in my retirement, because as you get into your mid to late 70s, early 80s, it's harder to do those things. Okay. And then again, this is regrets that older retirees have shared with me, and I want to share these with you as you're thinking about retirement, whether that's in 6 months, 6 years or 10 years or more. And the next one is, speaking of 10 years, is they wish that they had invested more in themselves 5 or 10 years before they retired. It's easy to get lost in, you're raising a family, you have these financial responsibilities, you're kind of at your peak earning years, you might be at the peak of your professional career, and it's easy to get lost in that, but forget about what does life look like outside of work. Maybe we haven't been spending as much time with our family. Maybe we haven't invested enough time in making new friends outside of work and reconnecting with older friends. And so a lot of older retirees say, I wish I had started preparing not just financially for retirement, but emotionally, mentally, and from a clock standpoint, from a time standpoint. They wish they had invested more in retirement. And so while I've focused on retirement here, it's the journey to get to that starting line that is retirement. Retirement is not a finish line, but a starting line for a new phase of your life. But until we get there, it's important that we enjoy the journey. I not only want you to enjoy each and every day of your retirement, but I want you to enjoy each and every day leading up to retirement. And that's why I made this video here, 7 things that I want you to think about stop doing in order to enjoy the journey up till retirement. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in that one. Bye-bye.